let's get into the elephant in the room. The penalty that was given to the 17 car of Scotty McLaughlin and Alex Primer. They would be starting that race from the rear of the grid, as we know, for an engine infraction at Bathurst in qualifying. So the qualifying engine is found to have exceeded the maximum lift of 0.71 of an inch. Okay, Simon, you have your thoughts on this. I'll let you...
Well, I don't really.
Okay.
What I need to find out is how they measure the lift. So when we talk about valve lift normally, we measure the lift at the camshaft, which is referred to as lobe lift, right? So if you can imagine the camshaft's not round, where it runs in the engine is round, and then where the lifter runs is oval, for lack of a better description. So the difference between the bottom and the top is the lobe lift. So if you measured the lifter, if you put a dial indicator or a ruler, some sort of measuring device on the lifter, and turn the camshaft, you could see how much it moved, and we refer to that as lobe lift. And then normally what we do is we multiply the lobe lift by the rocker ratio, and that tells us what the valve lift is. When you're measuring it at the valve, there's a lot of factors that come into play. Okay, so the first thing is you have a certain amount of clearance before the end of the rocker and the valve tip. We refer to that as lash, valve lash. So if you're measuring it at the valve, the amount of valve lash that you set will change the amount of lift. The next thing is that the reason we have lash is because as the engine gets hot, the block grows, the cylinder heads grow, and we're talking about thousandths of an inch when we're talking about lash. So, generally most cams will run around 16 thousandths of an inch. Some will run more, some will run less, but, around that sort of figure. So the amount the engine grows is also thousandths of an inch, but it has an effect. And the reason we set the lash hot is because of that reason. So reading what is available out there to read, it sounds as though they've measured it at the valve. Now, whether they've measured it cold, whether the lash was set, there's no indication of how they came to that. But essentially, the worst cylinder was 3.5 thousandths. So get 25.4 millimeters, divide that into 1,000 increments, and 3.5 of those is how much over the maximum. So really, bugger all.
I think in this situation, the penalty is being monetary, and also Scotty starting from the rear of the grid at the Sandown 500. So everyone acknowledges that DJRPenkse didn't intentionally go out there and cheat. Roger Penske just bought the Indy car
and the track
series, and the
he's got his own back track.
See, no one is going to be checking the valve lift in that series.
I do find it curious though. So they have 6 motors they pull.
Yeah.
Of 3 of the 6 were all DJR. So they pulled the quali, the race out of both the 17 and the 12, and then took the top 2 off the podium and someone random.
Yeah.
It seems very...
Oh, look, they're picking on D. Pasquale. He's not even driving for him.
It just seems very targeted. Like it's... I mean, Fabs was penalised. I mean, he was nowhere, but they still yanked the motor out of him.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the parity issue with the Nissan, and they penalised the Mustang and gave the Holden better aero. But the parity issue was with the Nissan.